Welcome to our On the Trail in Orangevale session. Today we are at the corner of Greenback and Beach in Orangevale. We have a very special location here. This is one of the very first properties that were purchased when the Orangevale Colonization Company put out the tracts available for sale as part of this master planned agricultural community. And what was neat is it was a Kentucky couple. They came over here, they were the Portwoods, and they decided they got one of the first picks of the properties. They chose from Hazel Avenue. They took the two 10-acre parcels up to Beach, and then they took the 10-acre parcel here on the other side of Beach on the north side of Greenback. And they chose to put their mansion up on the hill. It had the best view in Orangevale. They could see the Sierras off in the distance. They could see the American River. It was an amazing location and an amazing colonial style home that was pretty rare for California. And so a lot of people would come by and really marvel at the house and the architecture as they drove by on Greenback Lane. Back then it was called Orangevale Avenue, but now we know it as Greenback Lane. So after the Portwoods built the home and hung out here for a while, they went ahead and moved, and it went through a few property owners, but ended up in 1908 with Harry Thorp. Harry Thorp had risen up in the ranks of Weinstock's Corporation, which was a local department store out of Sacramento. And his wealth came from becoming president of the Weinstock Corporation. And with that, he chose to purchase this country home in Orangevale as his primary residence. He did a lot of improvements to it. He brought in 2 aviaries, he had a duck pond, he had a garage for his new automobiles. And another thing he did was he put in a rock driveway with a little wall and 2 pillars that were on each side of that entry driveway into the home. And each of those pillars had a capstone. One of them said Oakhurst, which is what he named the property. This was his home away from home, Oakhurst, out in the country. And the other one said H. Thorp 08 for the year 1908 that he purchased the home and took over. So what we're going to do is going to go up into this raw land here, and we're going to find a couple of neat secrets that we'll find just in this part of Orangevale. So the great thing about this property with the views and whatnot, they decided to put in, once the house burned down, they decided to put in some apartment complexes right on top of the hill. Fortunately, they chose to spare a couple of items from the original property, and we have those right here on this raw land. And here we are, one of the pillars. When I was doing the research for the property, myself and Pamela, we had seen these in pictures, and there's a couple of great pictures we'll share with you from Caltrans, from the Sacramento Bee, and these pillars are prominent in those photographs. And so when I came around the corner a few years back and I found these hiding behind this fence, I was blown away. I was so excited. These are the 2 pillars. For some reason, the developers for the apartment complex decided to spare them. They dropped them over here on this property. And so they've been sitting here for decades waiting for us to find them. And now it's our chance to hopefully get them intact and then preserve those and then share them with the community as part of the great history we have here in Orangevale. So why are we here today, of all days? These have been sitting here for decades, and we found them about 2 years ago. Well, there's a development plan for this property, and Pacific Housing is going to be taking this whole property and creating an apartment complex. Thankfully, they are appreciative of local history and artifacts, and so as we reached out to Pacific Housing and Matt, they were gracious enough to work with us. They're planning on taking these this next week bringing them down to the street. We're going to have a trailer where they can drop them on, and the goal is to get those over to the area where the museum is and be able to preserve those and put them on display at some point in the future. So with that, we are excited to see what's in store for these pillars, this property, and this is Mark Ehring signing off from On the Trail in Orangevale.